Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're doing more of a maintenance oriented mod. So I've had a leak in my vacuum pump for a little while. What I've heard is that the plate on the side of the vacuum pump will sometimes flex over time, or the seal inside goes bad or whatever, and it starts leaking oil. So this basically removes the vacuum pump completely. You put the block off plate on there, and then it ends up rerouting the brake booster hose, which is what this hose is for. So that hose will go from the brake booster into this larger hose, then it then takes the vacuum from the air in the intake manifold and puts it into the brake booster, so it bypasses the vacuum pump. I think that's how it works. I'm not 100% sure, but that's what I think happens. I've heard it reduces the noise of the engine and then possibly get some horsepower gains out of it because it frees up extra stress on the engine, I guess. I'm not really sure, but at the end of the video I'm going to put kind of a side-by-side comparison of the cold start engine noise before and after the install, so we can see if there's any difference. But I don't really know what I'm doing here. I'm going to give it a try. We'll see what happens. So let's get to it. This might take a little bit longer for me because I want to take out the filter actually and clean that out while I'm doing this. But regardless, first step is to remove the intake. So the next step is going to be removing 4 T30 Torx bolts on the throttle body. So in order to disconnect it from the intake manifold, this is via the instructions that came with the kit, so you can get to this hose right here. So let's get to removing this. Trying to make sure I don't. Alright. As soon as you take that bolt out of it, just kind of wants to fall off. So, but it connects right here. There's a little connector. So I'm gonna undo it from the clip right here. Set it up right there and just not move it. Right now we're gonna remove the factory intake manifold hose, which is this guy here. Remove it from the top and remove it from the bottom as well. The next step once you remove the intake manifold hose is to go ahead and locate the brake booster hose, which is right here. You want to remove the hose from the brake booster and you just pull this whole thing out. I think it's just this little clip and you pull that out towards you, and it should pull it out. So go ahead and do that. Managed to get the hose out. There's literally a little plastic tab here. I tried to pull on it a little bit and it just snapped instantly. It was really hard to take out. I think what happened was I had turned on the car before I started this video to get the cold start before sound clip. I think I created a vacuum in here and it made it a lot harder to get out. So I guess don't start the car before you try to get this out, I think. So the brake booster hose connects to the manifold just underneath this hose. You guys can't see it down there, but it's just underneath this, and I think you just pull it out. So I'll see if I can get that done. So here is the brake booster hose, if I can get it to focus. There you go. This is the other end that was connected to the intake. No, not the intake manifold. This was connected to the vacuum pump. So this was the vacuum pump side, and there's no clips on it. You just pull it right out, and it comes out pretty easy. And then you remove the entire hose from the car. So now they want you to remove the nut of the shift linkage on top of the transmission, which is the nut right in the middle of the screen right here. I cleaned it up a little bit, made a little Sharpie mark on it, just that way once I put it back I can know exactly what alignment it was in, even though I think it goes back to the same exact way, I just wasn't sure. So let's go ahead and remove this. Alright, so now is when we get actually into the disassembly of the vacuum pump. It's a little hard to see, so I'm going to put on the tripod after I show you guys a little bit. So there are 4 T20 Torx screws holding on the plate of the vacuum pump. So there's one there, there's one right there, and then there's one down right there, and then another one right on the other side. So those are going to be fun to try and get to. So let me go ahead and get to those a little off camera, and then we'll move into the next step. Alright guys, so I have the cover to the vacuum pump off. So those are the internals. A little bit of oil did spill out, but nothing too major. I'm going to clean it up. There's an option, you can move the battery tray. I might end up doing that. So now there are 3 T30 Torx bolts holding the vacuum pump itself, this whole housing onto the engine. I don't think I'm going to be able to get it out without removing the battery tray. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Alright, now I have the battery tray out. Once you take the battery out, there is one 10mm bolt inside. So it was one 12 or 13mm bolt and then two 310s. So 1 12 and 310s, I believe. We need to work on getting those other T30 Torx out of this vacuum pump. Got all 3 of the bolts holding the actual vacuum pump on. Now the only part left is to get the internals out, and then that way, once the internals are out, you can pull the entire vacuum pump out itself. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to that step. Just like that, the vacuum pump is out. That's where it was. In order to get it out, and here it is, next to my battery, with my decomposing jacket, apparently. So this is the whole vacuum pump, and the seal that's on it is like completely flat. I don't know if that's what was causing the leak. I think it was. Like this little O-ring right here around the whole thing. It's completely flat. Like it doesn't raise up at all, and I think that's part of the reason why it was leaking oil. Just the seal between this and the plate was just not good anymore. But this is the vacuum pump. So this is what you're deleting. And now I'm gonna take a little bit of time in here. I'm gonna clean up the top of the transmission. I'm gonna clean up all the oil that's down there. I'm gonna just get the whole engine bay around here just cleaned up a little bit more. Pretty much just do the steps in reverse now. There's a few less steps. So this is the block off plate, and this is the little gasket it comes with. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that out. Make sure you clean that up, that way you get a good seal with the gasket. So I'm gonna go ahead and put in the block off plate. There's the block off plate installed. I don't know what the torque specs are on it, but I tightened the bolts enough to where I felt comfortable that they were tight, but not so tight that they were about to break or something like that, or I was about to strip it. So I think they're fine, but if anything, I'll just, after a few hundred miles or so, I'll just check up on them again and make sure that they're all tight. We're gonna be messing around with the brake boost hose now. So it says to cut, just cut this hose, probably right at the base, just so you can get this top piece out. So we're gonna go ahead and take a razor and cut this out. And then after that, let me show you guys. So yeah, right there, we're gonna go ahead and cut that, and then I'm gonna get some of the hose that it comes with. I'm gonna get that all assembled. All right, so here's the whole thing assembled. It's all ready to go. Got hose clamps, goes all the way down. The hose clamp on the brake boost plug-in. So that's what it's gonna end up looking like. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and do some work. So this is going to replace all of this. So let's go ahead and remove this piece right now. Now there's the hose going from the intake manifold and then routing straight back to the brake booster there. I did my best to get the brake booster in. I think once it creates a vacuum, it'll kind of suck it in even more. I tightened these all down. I don't think the hose clamps are going to cut into these hoses at all because the hoses are really thick. So I think we're good there. That is a fully installed Spulen kit. Alright, everything's been installed. Let's go ahead and give it the first startup with the Spulen vacuum pump delete kit in and see if we can hear any differences. And hopefully nothing terrible goes wrong. If you have any questions on anything I did, go ahead and leave it in the comments. Again guys, I am not a professional. I barely even know what I'm doing under there. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys want to see more, subscribe. Please hit that like button, helps me out a lot. That's going to be it for me today guys. I'll see you in the next video. I'm out.